Hey, what's happening? Jason Woodland here with Always the Journey TV. Moving right along, we're able to talk to all kinds of amazing entrepreneurs and business owners and artists and everything in between. Today is interview number 20, and I'm extremely excited about the person that I'm going to be interviewing today, and I know that you're going to be too. He's going to blow your mind, literally. Today is also Small Business Saturday. Well, in my mind, it's actually Small Business Day every day. So do everything you can to go out, especially during this time, get takeout, have something delivered, your local pizza joints, your coffee joints, all the good stuff in between there. Support small business any way you can. Today, like I said, is Saturday. It's a beautiful day, crisp blue sky. I'm extremely excited about it. And this morning's soundtrack was the Bee Gees. It's been one of my favorite bands since I was a little kid. My mom first introduced me to them, like I said, when I was little. She used to have all their records, and we used to set up on Saturday night. And Saturday Night Live, or not live, Saturday Night Fever, that is. Anyway, it's just a good way to start the day. Today, I get to interview my dear friend, Paul Draper, who lives here in Holiday, Utah. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. Not only is he extremely well-versed in his craft, he's vastly educated and is an all-around nice guy. And I love talking to him. He has appeared on the History Channel, A&E, HBO, Hallmark, Travel Channel, and HGTV. His shows that he's been featured in include Hell's Kitchen, Pawn Stars, Ghost Adventurers, Mindfreak, and House Hunters. He has also performed at Yale University, Apple at their Cupertino headquarters, the world-famous Magic Castle in Hollywood, and the Magic Circle in London. He has also had regular appearances in Las Vegas, headlining the Orleans showroom, appearing in variety shows at Planet Hollywood and Sam's Town Casino. And he also spent 7 years as the house magician at one of my personal favorite hotels, the Venetian. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to introduce you to my dear friend, mind reader and anthropologist, Paul Draper. What's happening, my man?
Hey, hi there. It's so good to be here with you. Yay. That's American Sign Language for applause. Yay.
That's right. Exactly. I love it. It's so good to see your smiling face.
So good to see you this morning. Yes, this is my Winter Wonderland set. I even have candy canes and wrappers there, so ready to go.
Oh, I love it. You know, it's crazy to think that the last time we saw each other, it was right before the shutdown. We were sitting over at the Harmons in Holiday,
right,
enjoying a cup of tea and just talking. And I remember you were getting messages about some of the shows that and what the updates were down in Las Vegas and California. And wow.
Right. So I performed in a sold-out theater in Idaho. Then I drove immediately to Las Vegas, where I performed at the last major convention in Vegas. It was the largest convention in Vegas, the construction show there, and they closed 2 days early. Then I drove to Disneyland, where I was performing at Disneyland for a few days. Then Disneyland shut down. And they had me stand in front of the gates at Disneyland and perform for the thousands of guests who couldn't go in the park. And then the next day they said I could only have 250 people. Then the next day they said I could only have 50 people. And the next day they said I could only have 10 people. And it was impossible because I would perform for 10 people and then have to release them, then 10 and then release them. And so after a few days of that, I came back home.
Oh my! I remember you were doing some of your Facebook lives when you were down in Disneyland, and I was like watching those crowds get smaller and smaller. It was surreal because it was like documenting that experience. I'm so glad you did that.
And then and so I've been performing here online on Zoom for people ever since March. And so like I've told you, I've had David Copperfield has come to my show, the CEO of Burger King, the inventor of Siri, and had thousands of people through Sotheby's and Hewlett Packard, Nokia, Apple, Facebook, all come to the shows now. I have one later today for the government of Florida, Florida.
So, wow, that's amazing. So Paul, I want to ask you a few questions because I really want to get an understanding of your business on a more granular level, and also teach to my viewers who you are and what it is you do, because I think that what you offer is one of my favorite things in the world, and that is magic and being able to get in. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. So Paul, tell me, what inspired you to get into doing what you're doing all to begin with?
Great question. Most of us at one point in our lives or another feel like the outsider. And when I was little, I really felt like I was the outsider. I went to the local library, the holiday library, and I read paranormal books, thinking, and I was like 7 or 8 years old, thinking, if only I could find the source of real magic, then I could cast a spell on you, then I could make people like me. I could get everybody to invite me to their birthday party. But there was a nice librarian there who, after a few weeks of me and Shaheen checking out all the paranormal books, took us over to the magic trick section in the juvenile section. Yes, theater and dance and ballet and opera, they are all in the theater section, but magic tricks are in the juvenile section.
Oh.
So went over, Dewey Decimal System. So I went over and read the books on magic tricks. And at first I was unhappy because I went, these are just tricks. Then I showed them, I practiced them, and I showed them to people, and people went, whoa, that's magic. Will you come to my birthday party? My mom will pay you $5 to come to my birthday party, right? And so that was the start of it. So Shaheen and I would go and perform magic at the birthday parties, and then we'd go to the Dollar Theater and catch a movie.
That is awesome. So then you became ultra famous and everybody was loving you in school then because you had all the magic, right?
Right. I did magic, and then I did musical theater and was in every musical in junior high and high school. Then in debate in high school at Olympus High, I was a national debate champion in oratory, went to nationals 2 years in a row, was state champion in pantomime, right? And then went off to college to study musical theater. Had a quick change of heart, and my degree was in anthropology, then a master's in political rhetoric, then ran off to teach at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. While being in Las Vegas, it just struck. It was time to become a full-time magician.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, not only are you extremely well versed in your craft, but you are wildly well educated.
Thank you.
And I love that, because talking to you is a lot of fun, because not only are you animated, and I feel like I'm pretty animated myself. I get it from my mom because she was an actress and a singer and everything. And but gosh, it's so fun to be able to talk and learn about the world of magic. So tell me more specifically about your business, and what does that look like, and how does it function and work?
Right now is different than it's ever been in the past. So right now, the business prior to this was that groups of people would gather. Wasn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Groups of people would gather, and companies and organizations would place me in front of those groups of people, and I would educate, entertain, inspire the people as a part of that event. So if you were having a gathering of people from all over the country or all over the world, and you needed something at the start of the convention to energize people and bring everyone together, to unify them so they were ready to hear a new message, that was my job. Or if it was the end of a difficult 3-day week with lots of lectures and sessions, and you needed to have a big banquet at the end of the night and the end of the third day to celebrate everyone and all that we have done together, people would bring me out to celebrate in those ways. And that's been most of my career to date. When March happened of 2020, I realized on the drive home from Disneyland, I thought to myself, all right, who needs what I do? Because as a small business, we are in the need fulfillment business. My job is to figure out what people need and fulfill that. What do they need that they are willing to spend some money for, right? To fulfill that need whenever possible. And I realized that just in the United States alone, not in the world, just in the US alone, there are 8 million school-age children. I'm talking kindergarten through 18, through senior and high school. There are 8 million school-age children in the US alone. That means that today, 200,000 of them are celebrating their birthday. And tomorrow, 200,000 of them are celebrating their birthday. And the next day, 200,000 of them are celebrating their birthday. And at that moment, they had no way to gather. They had no way to celebrate. They didn't have a magician at their party. And so as I was driving home, I said, even though I've primarily been a corporate entertainer and in big theaters and this, I'm going to help people celebrate their birthday parties. And so at first I put out, if you've lost someone to COVID, if you've lost your job, if you're a single parent trying to raise your children on your own, I am offering magic shows for free for your children's birthday parties. Reach out to me. These are free. Then I set up a Patreon page where people could be a patron of me as an artist at patreon.com/Paul Draper. And I have 60 people that are my current patrons that are everywhere from $5 a month to $250 a month. And they receive all sorts of benefits as individuals from that interaction, including free shows and trainings and magic tricks that they get at home. And I'm putting up regular updates and information, everything from how to be a better chef, because my best friend was a chef and he taught me, to how to tell when people are lying or not. And I use that money to then donate shows to Title I schools where 80% of the population was below the poverty line, or to pediatric oncology centers where there are children that are dying of cancer or being treated for cancer, hopefully will survive, and donated those shows to that. But then slowly, the corporate shows started to come back because every business in the world is meeting on Zoom and meeting online, and they still need to have their conference and they still need to be entertained. And I provide a stage manager and I'm the MC and provide entertainment and breakout rooms and provide other entertainers and other engagements. And so I've had huge companies, like I had the American Academy of Neurology, which is 39,000 neurosurgeons and neuroscientists in the world hired me to do a show, or HP, or all these big companies have been hiring me to do shows. I even recently did a show for the Miller family that owns the Utah Jazz and Larry H. Miller dealerships, and it's been online all through this medium.
Wow, that is amazing. So obviously you were doing a lot of in-person show. I mean, everything was in person before, right? And you were traveling all over the world. I mean, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, London. I mean, all kinds of really fun places. And now everything is this kind of format.
Right. Now everything is right here online. And so but the nice thing is I have access to everything. Yeah. I sometimes perform 6 shows in a day. I can perform a show, a mind reading show for the executives of Kroger in the morning, and then have a preschool show in the afternoon. And it looks completely different. It's a completely different show because every show is customized to the needs of the customer. In the past, I could only perform 1 show every 3 days because it takes a day to travel there, the day I do a show, and a day to travel to the next city. But now I can do 6 shows a day and just pull from different amazing things that I've collected over my career. I've been able to showcase pieces of magic. So there was a famous magician, the David Copperfield of his day was named Thurston. And after he passed, he sold some of his daughter sold some of his illusions to a man named Will Rock. When Will Rock was here performing in Utah at the then Orpheum Theater, now known as the Capitol Theater, his brother John fell in love with a Utah woman, and they were married and settled here in Holiday, Utah. During this time, the children of that pairing, of that marriage, have come to know me. And since they don't have any family members that love magic, there's some pieces on my set here behind my name that they donated to me from their father, from that show during World War II that toured the world.
Wow.
And so here I am now reusing. These are things I wouldn't travel with, but because I'm in my home and they're safe, I can perform these beautiful pieces of magic that are 100 years old without worrying about damaging them.
Wow. Very good point. That is amazing.
I even had David Copperfield come to one of my shows, and after the show, he wanted to meet one-on-one to purchase a couple of my items, and I had to help him hunt down duplicates because he wanted these magic pieces of magic to remind himself of how he felt while watching the show.
Wow. The thing that is so amazing about magic is that in my mind, it's so much more than entertainment. It's about inspiring, it's about connecting, it's about bringing people together, and it's about belief. And
Right.
that's what we need more than ever right now is the belief of a better day, a belief of a brighter tomorrow. And that's what you bring. Your work is so phenomenally important. I know you already know this, but I'm just telling you this. It's so important. Paul, I'm wondering, would you mind performing for us just a little
Sure.
something?
Let me show you something. Okay, so let's do some mind reading. I'll move this table back so you can see. I have a prediction rolled up in a scroll right here. And I have 6 cards. Humans are symbol-bearing creatures. We are very passionate about symbols. We're willing to fight wars and gather around a symbol. I've written down 6 symbols here. Very, very different. You can't see them all. I want you, but only 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way there. Name a number, 1 through 6.
7. I'm sorry, 4.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your symbol right there. You could have picked any of those, but you picked this one. That symbol right there is the arrow pointing up. Here I made a prediction of one symbol and one symbol only that I thought you would pick. The arrow pointing up.
Wow.
Excellent job. So everything from, can we control what people will choose? Do we know what people's choices will be? To more visual fun things like here, I've been using this. I'll move this out of the way just slightly. So I say to kids, who here has had an Oreo cookie before? Have you ever had an Oreo, Jason?
Absolutely.
I want you to tell me, which do you like more, the single stuff or the double stuff?
I'm going to say single.
Single stuff. I like the double stuff, but I've only been going to the store once every 2 weeks because I want to keep my family safe during the pandemic. So if I buy the wrong cookie, I'm stuck with it. So I went to the store and I got the single stuff. Okay, I want you to help me. We're going to make one of these double stuff. Which one? The one up high or the one down low?
The one up high.
One up high. Okay, watch. We take the stuffing out of here, we put it into there. We take the stuffing out of here, we put it into there. We take the stuffing out of here, and we put it up into there. Jason, you did it. Okay, now if you were going to have Oreo cookies, what would you have to drink with them?
I'd probably go with the green tea because that's how I roll.
Green tea with Oreo cookies? That's so weird. I had someone yesterday say orange juice. I had someone the day before say soda pop. Most people have milk. Here's an empty cup for you. Here's an empty cup for me. Here's an empty cup for our viewers to share. Wave your hand over the top and say milk.
Milk.
Just like that. 3, 2, 1. There's a tall, cool glass of milk. Oh,
what?
It's so good to get to spend some time sharing magic with you. So that's what I do. I can interact right here, play to the camera. The audience, it's very important to me that the audience interacts with me in every single piece of magic. Because if I'm just doing magic on my own, just visual magic, well, they're better off watching a pre-recorded special of David Copperfield, Blackstone, Doug Henning, one of those fellows. But if it's live and interactive and they can have a impact on what's happening in the show, they make the magic happen through the screen, that makes all the difference in the world.
Wow, I would certainly say so.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was just sitting, across the table with you and being able to be part of that interaction. That was amazing. Thank you.
I had a major booker on the West End in London who watched a recorded version of my show, and she said, it was so strange. I was watching a recording, yet I was worried that I was going to be called on any moment, and I wasn't dressed right to appear before everyone else. And that's the goal. That's the goal, is to make everyone feel that way. One of my directors that's been working with me is Bob Fitch, who was the original Rooster in Annie on Broadway.
Yeah.
His final show, he was in 40 years of shows on Broadway and 27 different Broadway productions. And his final show was being Marcus Lycus with Whoopi Goldberg in Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum on Broadway.
Wow.
But that's so much of what he said. Is he said, you know, Powell, you're being a Gatling gun. You're just throwing magic at them, boom, 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 and making every piece of magic land, filled with, rather than bullets, shooting surprise and wonder. Because in a regular television show, it cuts away every 3 seconds.
Right.
But instead, I have to keep that energy going every 3 seconds. So, Jason, imagine I have a deck of cards. I'm going to pull out half. Did I pull out the red half or the black half?
The black half.
Absolutely right. I have the red cards left. Do I pull out the diamonds or the hearts?
The diamonds.
Gone. I have the hearts left. Do I pull out the face cards or the number cards?
Face cards.
Face cards are gone. I have the number cards. Do I pull out the high cards or the low cards?
Low cards.
Low cards are gone. I just have the high diamonds. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Name one of those cards.
10.
The 10 of diamonds.
Yes.
Inside my pocket, I have one card and one card only that I knew you were going to pick. I knew you were going to pick
That's
I
the
knew
wrong
that
one.
you would be off by one. so that's the sort of fun interaction we can have right here, right across the screen, you know. And so I love doing it. It's been so fun. I've probably performed more shows this year than I have in the last 5 years combined.
And you are one busy person, so that is
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You just referenced someone being nervous that they were going to get picked on. And when I made the mistake of saying 7 instead of in the 1 through 6, I felt the same, like, wait a minute, I'm about to be picked on, but I'm the only person here. So it was actually somewhat nervous, and we're friends and we're just hanging out. Oh my gosh, this is seriously so fun.
But it gets everybody's energy up. It keeps them active and alive. Part of the reason I've been going and doing shows for retirement communities, and the nurses and the physicians in the retirement communities and the social workers have told me that it's an incredibly powerful tool to fight isolation and to build mindfulness, because there's a loss of consciousness without engagement and interaction. And there is a loneliness that comes from isolation that's killing people. And with a show like this, several of these retirement homes bring me in to do these because people get excited and they're interested and they're engaged and they are excited that they may be picked and they're excited about what might happen. And the show's different every show. And so they've shown that listening to music from their childhood, being playful, watching magic, it keeps them engaged and alive longer.
Oh, wow. Very, very good points there. I love that. So okay, so obviously right now, the geographic locations you cover is anywhere in the world. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can have a show. I can have a morning show in Paris and a night show in Hawaii. It doesn't matter. I can be anywhere.
That
And
is
the only thing that holds me back is that I can have 6 shows a day. And I found that after 6 shows, because there were some days I did more than 6, but after 6, the show starts to lose quality because I can't keep the energy up. But I was doing 4 shows a day at Disneyland. I was doing 4 shows a day at the Venetian in Vegas. So 4 to 6 is really my sweet spot. But people can find me at pauldraper.com, also down there, pauldraper.com. You can find me at pauldraper.com. It's actually going to bounce you from there to mentalmysteries.com because I haven't been able to make the full transition of the webpage. But go to pauldraper.com. You can email me at paul@pauldraper.com, paul@pauldraper.com. That's how you email me. And we can work it out. I have, there's certainly my corporate rate for doing these shows is less than half what it was to have me do live shows.
Sure.
And much less than that because you don't have to pay airfare, hotel, rental car, and meals. And I go all the way down to if you're a family in need, I can pull money from my Patreon account, or if you're a charity, pull money from my Patreon account. My patrons have been very generous to support these shows.
You know, I know you're a mentalist because you literally just answered my next 2 questions. So that's amazing. I love it. So that's what I was going to ask is, who makes a good referral. So let's talk just a little bit more about that. So let's say there's just one individual. You can work from one individual all the way up to hundreds of people. Is that correct?
Right. I've had shows on Zoom with 2,000 people. My live shows, I've done as many as 5,000 people. But yes, I've had as small as a nanny in New York for a wealthy businessman. She is given a budget daily to engage the 3 children. And I've had it as small as just the one screen with the 3 children and me performing, all the way to as big as Sotheby's real estate agency had me perform for 2,000 people. So it's truly any size of engagement. I had one a C-suite of a major corporation that you've heard of. They just had me perform for the C-suite executives, and everyone was sent a $3,000 bottle of champagne to their home to enjoy while watching my show. I didn't get the bottle, but any size. But when people say who is your red carpet client, who's your velvet cord, your perfect VIP client, I think my perfect client is usually it's people who are people that are social, engaged, people in law, medicine, business, sales, performed for Bentley of China, for example. But people that are engaged in communicating and interacting with other people at a high level. And so that seems to be really my best clientele. Now I can perform for anybody,
Yeah.
but I have found that people that spend all day kinesthetically working with their hands are less interested watching a mind reader than people that spend all day orally working with other people and communicating. So that's more my target.
Okay, that definitely helps and makes really good sense, because then, of course, I mean, especially being at that, a lot of us are working 8-10 hours a day on the computer, looking at Zoom meetings and that kind of stuff. So then to sit and watch someone, do this amazing stuff that you're doing, they really need to have that sort of almost that practice of being able to focus into the screen and be engaged.
Right. Right. And
Perfect.
but it's a great way if you have a consistent meeting where you're meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. It's really nice to break that up with
Oh yeah.
something fun, engaging, and interactive. And very often I'll do things like, the World Series of Poker sent everybody a specialty deck of playing cards, and then I taught everybody a magic trick with the cards they had in their homes. So, or I've had people like, I had a parent where I said, they wanted a Harry Potter themed show. So here's my Ollivander wand box. And in there is my magic wand. You see the wand with the white tips and the black center. I'm going to make it disappear and reappear in your house. Now it's in your house. And then the child went around like an Easter egg hunt and found the wand in their home. So it was wand to impossible location, right? So there
That's
are
amazing.
ways to interact and engage across the screen.
Oh, that is really cool. And speaking of that, I actually watched Harry Potter for the very first time 2 nights ago. And my wife Kate says hi to you, by the way.
Oh, hi.
Cool. So, okay. So the best way to get a hold of you then is going to be the pauldraper.com.
Paul Draper. PaulDraper.com.
I love it.
PaulDraper.com.
Perfect. And they can email you there. They can ask about rates. They can ask about times that you're open, and also about, and so you can do everything from birthday parties. You can do corporate events. You can do, nonprofit status type situations.
Right.
It really runs
and
the
a lot
gamut.
of nonprofits in Utah have been asking me to donate shows for their auctions, and I've been doing that. So at the Salt Lake City County, or the Salt Lake City Library System sold my show for a few $1,000s, and I put it on. Or I had an anti-gun violence group, and I had, interestingly enough, a board member for another charity that was all about athletes with disabilities purchased me to perform for her charity. And so I've been doing a lot of 501c3 charity work, because look, people are in need.
Yes,
People
they
are
are.
sad. I'm a magician. I'm not going to say no. If people are sad, I'm going to help.
Yes, and you are going to help because you are a very helpful person, and you want to get out there and show these wonderful things to unite and to bring people happiness. I love that. So Paul, yeah,
it's been a great joy to also learn. This has been one of the greatest learning experiences of my life.
yes,
because I've had to learn how to play in this medium. I've had to learn what it is to be a performer in the world of live television, right? And that's so much of what this is too.
It is, exactly. Wow.
So
I love that. Oh, I can't wait to be able to sit down and do tea with you again when things start chilling out a little bit. So Paul, as we go to a wrap up, I like to ask what your favorite song or favorite quote or both is.
There was a quote made up by I have a lot of different ones, but this is the one I'm going to go with today. There was a quote made up for a play called The Night Thoreau Spent in Jail, about Henry David Thoreau and Emerson, and it was a mixing of different things Ralph Waldo Emerson said, and I played this character in a production years ago, and it said, there is an infinitude in the private man. If a single man plants himself indomitably upon his instincts, and there abides, the huge world will come round to him. So what does this mean? It says the entirety of all knowledge and all things is in the private man, not the famous person, not the celebrity, not the politician, the private. Every individual has incredible genius within us. And if we realize the greatness in the world, and we plant ourselves, and we say, I have found something beautiful and great, and we show it to people, eventually people will come around and love our product. Just like it took Colonel Sanders driving all the way from Kentucky to Utah before he got his first buyer, the Harmon family. But he had that conviction, and eventually it took over the world. And each of us can do the same with our own conviction and our own inventions and our own power, because each of us have genius within us.
Wow, that was extremely impactful. I love that so much. Wow, this has been a really amazing and extremely fast 30 minutes, Paul. I sincerely appreciate you being on my show.
Thank you for having me, and make sure just share it everywhere.
Absolutely, we sure will, definitely. And if you don't mind hanging tight for just a quick second, I'm going to place you in my green room for a moment and
Great,
wrap
thanks,
up the
everybody.
show. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate you. So there you have it, my friends. Paul Draper, mentalist and magician, absolutely phenomenal. He blew my mind in just a short period of time there, as I'm sure he did yours as well. Be sure to look him up on pauldraper.com. Check out this video, and also feel free to subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, which I know you did. Thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you dedicating your time to watching this, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your week.